Good morning, everybody. This is going to be a slightly different style of video than I usually upload, as this is going to be an excerpt from a live stream that I had several people request that I post here on the channel. This is essentially a session of me taking user-submitted builds during the live stream, and then tweaking them and tinkering them, which is pretty fun to do for me, and also helps people learn some stuff. And hopefully some of the information that's come through here, as we kind of pick apart and put these builds back together, will help you learn something and build in the future. Now, if you're sitting here and you're like, man, I wish I could have my build reviewed. I would love for that to happen. Then please join me on my live stream where I stream every single day, except for I think Sundays. I sometimes stream Sundays, but I don't usually. But I stream pretty much every other day, like 55 to 60 hours a week. So if you want to catch some Strimtom action and you want to see me reviewing builds or potentially reviewing your build, then join me on the live stream at twitch.tv/Strimtom, or you can also go to the Strim Streams YouTube channel that I will link below. However, on Strim Streams, there's no way to actually redeem your build review, so you'll have to make sure that you check out on Twitch if you do want to get your build redeemed. But without further ado, this is going to be essentially just all of the build reviews that we did a little while ago, and hopefully you'll enjoy it and learn something. If you like this type of content, you want to see more stuff like this, like little clips of some of the more in-depth things we go into, please let me know. And if you never want to see this content ever again, you can also let me know. That sounds good. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you later. We are ready. We are ready to play some DDO Builder. So as I said, the first build that has been submitted is a Pure Bard support build. And so we're going to be going through this build right here. Again, from Anti-Chap. So this is the idea. So this character is, I'm assuming, supposed to be a melee character. And we'll be kind of examining this as we go in a little bit deeper. So let's just make this shuffle as well, so it's got a little bit more variety. So it's Pure Bard, Con, Charisma, and then the Strength, I'm assuming, is for two-handed fighting. Let's load up the actual leveling set. One of the things I won't look at too heavily is skills. You don't really need to look at skills too much in these builders, because like you should kind of know what skills you're going to use. For example, if you're planning on using a single weapon fighting, you want balance. If you're planning on using any character, use magic device, that sort of thing. So we're not going to focus too heavily on skills. So I'm not going to be looking at this menu too much. We're going to be looking at instead mostly this one. Show you the feats, which are much more impactful. Okay, so we get started here. We've got oh my god, that's so loud. Why is there no audio balancing? Makes me sad. Anyway, so this is a single weapon fighting build. I was wrong. This is not a two-handed fighting build. Okay. So why do we have this strength? I'm already confused. We have Sign of the Feywild going here. So this is apparently a single weapon fighting build, slashing weapon, using something. Do we have items in this build so far? That'll help me understand a little bit where we're going. Items? No items. Okay. So it's some type of slashing... Oh, no, don't do that. Some type of slashing single weapon fighting build we got going on here. Which is fine. You can have a slashing single weapon fighting build. That's not the end of the world. But that is that definitely is interesting. Because then you can use like longsword or something. But on a bard, usually you'd want a swashbuckle. And I don't know what light slashing weapons you would use. Thought it was melee with the Fey Dark swords? Okay. Oh, melee with using the Fey Dark weapons, the short swords. Okay. So that's... Already we have some things we want to fix up. So, for support, you can definitely do that with the Fey Dark swords. The short swords. But you'd want to make adjustments right away. You don't want to use slashing, you want to use piercing because they're short swords, and short swords are in fact piercing weapons. That's like a big change. Okay, Fey Dark Illusionist short swords, I gotcha. That makes sense. White Dragonborn, this is just for energy resistance for the most part, so it doesn't matter too much. Quicken Spell is good, Force of Personality is good. You're taking all the stuff. Shield Mastery is perfectly fine because you can use the Buckler on this character build. I'm assuming the Swashbuckle. Inspire Excellence is great. Shield Mastery is good. This is good feat selection so far. Overwhelming Critical, perfect 2-weapon fighting. It's a perfect feat. Highly recommend perfect 2-weapon fighting. Normally I would rally against perfect single weapon fighting, but if you're going with these short swords, bear in mind you will always have a Vorpal effect on your weapons. Because these Shadow Blades have Vorpal on them. Now granted, you'll need to wait until the new raid to use a level 31, but for leveling this should be good for the most part. Past Life Wizard for the freezes, or for more DCs. This is where we're going to talk about DCs. There is going to be a limit of how many DCs your character is going to get, and that's going to happen pretty dang fast. Because it's very difficult to itemize for both DCs and crowd control at the same time. Like melee stats. So we're probably gonna revisit some of these things. Also, deific warding is great if you're casting the Bard Aura spell on you, or like the mana regen spell, but it's not if you're not. Let's close this down for a bit and take a look at enhancement trees. So right here, you're at tier 5 Spellsinger. Whoa, all over the place. What is this? Okay, so we got points spent in all the different trees. Okay, so right off the bat, I have a bunch of different things that I am curious of, and that I definitely want to make as adjustments. I think that you absolutely should be using more than one of your tier 5, and you should pick a capstone on a pure character. If you're not playing a capstone, you should 100% in all cases be using a capstone. So if you like this build and you want to keep it like this, I would change out the leveling order a little bit, add in some other classes that can benefit you, but I would 100% consider picking a capstone. Those are your two options. Because again, you don't have a situation where you can get a capstone but you don't. You could get +4 charisma and the heal spell, as well as Wail of the Banshee, which is insane. Or you can grab Scaldic Scream for a really strong frontal AoE freeze that does a lot of damage and slows and freezes and charisma and constitution and hit points. All of which are very good. So you need to decide what you got going on here. So I would say, so far on this character, because of the direction where you're kind of split between Spellsinger and Warchanter, you want to hard commit to one. If you're hard committing to a single tree, I would say probably the Warchanter tree is where you would want to go if you want to be melee, because here is the problem, right? You don't pick up the plus DCs for enchantment here. You pick up illusion here, but then you go with Scion of the Feywild, which gives you +2 enchantment, and illusion DCs. It's important to note, Greater Color Spray has no save. So you actually don't need the illusion DCs at all. It is not impactful to the build. So if I was to rearrange this character, what I would do is I would probably take my points out of Spellsinger, go more into the Warchanter tree to get the freeze, because the AoE freeze will help you. You only have single target with this character. You have Frozen Fury and you have Greater Color Spray. But it's also important to note with this character, if you're not taking Epic Defensive Fighting, or if you're taking Epic Defensive Fighting, Color Spray loses a lot of its value because its range becomes very, very short. So either you're not using Epic Defensive Fighting, and you get demolished in melee sometimes, because your health is low, or you are using Epic Defensive Fighting, and you can't really make a good use out of Color Spray. So I think you kind of want to condense your ideas down into one thing, because I tried that with my Sorcerer. I did that as well. So let's take this support bard, and we're going to kick it up a notch and make it a little bit stronger for what you want to do, which is get the support, being able to lock down creatures, a lot of healing, a lot of power to you. My last question I want to ask you, confirmation or deny, are you okay with using... I'm gonna be cool Strimtom for a bit, because, again, my eyes are bothering me. Are you okay... There we go, I'm cool Strimtom now. Are you okay using Epic Defensive Fighting, which is your spell range is capped at melee range? If you are not okay with that, then that will impact the build. But if you are okay with that, then I will make some adjustments to this build to make it a little bit stronger. Okay, so here's how we're going to adjust this build. Essentially, spell DCs are going out the window. We're not a spellcaster anymore, so we're going to reset this tree. You will cast spells, but it's going to start in a different way. So first, you still want to get access to that side of that tree, so you want to use Magical Studies to get access to Magical Training. Cool. Yeah, you can always just turn off Epic Defensive Fighting and stay out of range, which is fine. But if you're in melee for the most part, that's what you want to do. So we're going to take this. You want to grab Extended Songs, because it's actually really, really nice. You don't care about Marigold Crown here. And you want to take the Music of the Sewers. Then Sharp Note. This allows you to turn your songs into additional damage for you and your friends. Plus 3 damage might not sound like a lot, but if you hit like 4 other people, it's like plus 12 damage, which is way more than whatever your War Chanter stuff does. So that's pretty sweet. Really good song. Charisma. Really good core. And now I have 16 points. You have a lot of points to spend in here. There isn't a lot of good stuff in this tree. You can always add in Haunting Melody if you want to make it so your Fascinate debuffs, but that's like okay. You could also grab Willful to get plus 3 to will saving throws, which is again not too bad. You don't need this DCs thing. Or you can get Inspiring or Reviving, Raucous Refrain, which gives plus 1 saves to Paralysis, Exhaustion, and Energy Drain. It's important to note that Paralysis, Exhaustion, and Energy Drain don't have saves. It's only sleep. This actually does not affect your ability against Hold Monster, which is kind of weird. Yes, Sustaining Song is a must. You grab Sustaining Song, you grab Freedom of Movement Song, you grab Song of Arcane Might, you grab Music of the Makers. This is all just straight up happening, right? But yeah, you gotta get that cat jam going. This is your character's singing, right? The Raucous Refrain. 100%. Cool. So, since the goal is to be like a melee and a support, 1, Dark Illusionist, pick your pet. Let's go with the white cat, because it's just the default one. Grab the illusory weapons, and that's it. That's all we spend in the Dark Illusionist tree. This leaves you with 15 points available. You don't take Color Spray anymore, and the reason you don't is because, again, if you're melee, you don't really want to be doing that type of support. Now, you might say, well, what if I don't want to get into melee and I still want to like help my allies? Like, I want to do crowd control and stuff. How do I do that? The answer is this capstone, Scalding Scream. Scalding Scream has a big range on it. It's like a Cone of Cold range, and it freezes everything. So that's your new Greater Color Spray on this type of character, except it scales off of the stuff that you already have. So instead you take this, you get extra crits on a 19 or a 20. That's really good. You get 6% melee damage. By the way, this is one of the strongest buffs in the entire game. This number right here, percentage melee and range damage, this number is a stacking bonus. So the way that a multiplying bonus. So what I mean by that is usually in Dungeons and Dragons Online, things are kind of like they go in stages, right? So the first stage is all the additive stuff. So it's like, okay, take your weapon damage, whatever you rolled, plus you add your strength, and you add your deadly, and you add whatever you get from your enhancement tree, and maybe if you have feats that add damage, you add all that together, and that's your number. So let's just say if I hit and I do 10 damage with my weapon, and then I have like 15 deadly, and I have like an extra 25 points from strength, it all adds up to 100, right? Then that's when you go with the multiplicative stuff. So that's like melee power now comes in here. Now we add in melee power. Okay, so I go melee power. I have 100, so that is 100% increased melee power, because melee power is 1% damage per melee power. So now my 100 damage increases by 100%, so I actually do 200 damage on my attack. So it does all the additive stuff first, and then the next step is the multiplicative stuff. Then there's the next stage, which is critical strikes. If you critically strike, you then multiply by your critical strike multiplier. So if I have a times 3 critical strike, then I take that 200 and I triple it and I get 600. This is also where you add in your seekers and what have you. So that's important. This number, Chant of Power, is a 6% bonus to melee damage. That happens after. This is an additional multiplier. So this is another additional 6%. So it takes that 600 and it multiplies that 600 by 6%. It doesn't add like 6% to melee power. This isn't 6 melee power. This is actually a 6% increase on your final number of damage, making this one of the highest increases in the game. There are very few effects that are percentage-based melee damage. Chant of Power is one of them, and it's a music bonus, and this is important because in Epic Destinies, there is another one. Epic Destinies, there is another one. It's just in the back here. What the hell just happened? Anyway. And you get the last one out of Primal Avatar, of all places, right here, Symmetric Strikes. You get a bonus to physical damage. But yeah, so this is the basic idea. So what you're giving up is, you don't lose any of the healing power that you had, you just lose some of the range, but you already didn't have the range anyway because you're using Epic Defensive Fighting. As far as where you should spend points in your racial tree, you pretty much have it covered. Just get some extra health or whatever it is you want. And of course in your universal tree, you've got the access to the Dark Illusionist. right here, which gives you the Shadow Blades. All this other stuff doesn't really do as much because you get Charisma to hit damage. So you don't need to take the Charisma to hit damage here because this automatically does it. And that's basically it. That's how I would adjust this on the enhancement tree. However, outside of that, as I said, feats, we're going to take a quick look at this. As I said, we're sliding out of the DC-based aspect of this character. Instead of deific warding, you'll never guess which thing I'm going to recommend. Oh, it's Dire Charge. Dire Charge is too good to keep out of a build like this. And then instead of Initiate of the Arcane, we're going to adjust this to something else. Pretty much anything else would be fine. What would be good here? Your character is going to be hella squishy. Epic damage reduction is definitely a good choice if you need a feat, because epic damage reduction is pretty good. Yeah, I got it. I already did it. And then instead of Scion of the Feywild, you have a couple different options. If you like the defense and just healing people, you can always pick up Scion of Celestia for the additional health, plus the extra spell power, which is kind of cool. Or you can go with Scion of Arborea instead if you want to pick up some more damage. This is where I would probably put my two choices, is one of these two. So once you figure out which one of the two you want to go with, I would go with one of these two. You don't really need to go with the Scion of the Feywild. So whichever one you feel comfortable with and you think is best. Does the weapon enchant give charisma to damage? It only gives you it to the conjured weapon. The enchant is just +1 to hit and damage, and it makes just your weapons don't break. Which is still very good, but that's not the same thing. Alright, and the last thing we're going to look at here is the Epic Destinies. So let's take a look at what you got here. So your character's in Fatesinger, which makes sense. Oh, no. There's a bunch of things I do not like here. We're going to reset this Epic Destiny. The couple things I don't like. Number one, you don't really need the +3 skills here. Number two, you really want Bound Fate. This is 12% extra damage on like boss type monsters, which is really, really crazy. Increasing the damage the monsters take by 12% is big, because with this, plus like dust and ooze and all sorts of other stuff, you can make it so you're almost like, you get close to doubling people's damage. It's really goofy. So I highly recommend you take this here. Also, you don't need these two abilities anymore, which is kind of sweet. So let's reset this tree. Yes, I do want to reset the tree. So you want to take this, because it's first harmonic chord. I don't generally take the skills, but I do take Bound Fate. I do take Grim Fate. You were using Rain. Rain is perfectly fine, because you're going to be Vorpaling all the time. Martial Hymn is way too good to pass up on a character like this. And you can also buff other people with it. Blade Song is awesome. Extended for free is awesome. If you need the mana cost reduction, take this. If you don't. Just consider that as, like an option. Grab the... I personally like the 4th harmonic chord because it's an extra +3 to saving throws for all your friends when you cast buffs on them. Turn the Tide is amazing. Take Free Quicken. It saves you a ton of mana that you wouldn't normally cast. So that's why I take Free Quicken here. And then outside of that, you have one more point. So you could take the 2nd harmonic chord wherever you want. But this is kind of where I would spend the points if you had 24. If you have 25, then you can. Legendary Shieldmaster is a great idea. Sense Weakness is awesome. And Hail of Blows. Surprisingly, Hail of Blows is worse than Dance of Flowers. So you can just bump this down, bump this up, and get an extra tier 1 twist, and then take anything else. You could take Divine Energy Resistance. You could take Rejuvenation Cocoon, which is an awesome heal. Highly recommend. Does it stack with other weapon vulnerabilities? Yes, it does. So this is where I would go with this. And personally how I would change it. Why is it worse? Oh, because that gives 3% double strike and 3% and +3 damage, which is okay, but a Dance of Flowers on your weapon is going to be a extra, like, what is it? 5 or average? I think it's 3 to 9 extra weapon damage, so you're going to be hitting harder. And as a bard, you don't have to worry too much about double strike because you get a whole bunch of it from your own personal tree. That's why. Plus, also, you'd rather have 2 twists instead of 1. I think it might be a slight dip in damage if your double strike isn't already capped, but the fact that you're getting 2 twists instead of 1 for like a 1/4% damage decrease, but then you can get an extra thing, Dragonhide or Rejuvenation Cocoon or Endless Faith or, all these different options. They're all good things. So that's probably how I would do that. Okay, so now this is Mesmerised Build. So we've talked about Mesmerised Build before, but the idea here is this is a purple Dragon Knight Spellslinger Bard who is actually doing the casting for the supporting. Whoa, where are the enhancements? Bro, there's no enhancements in this build. Oh, you're thinking about a change. I see. Alright. Let's see what we got. Okay. Okay. Alright. Another thing I don't like about this thing is that you have to select no selection to turn them all off and then to move them. Okay, let's get the bread and butter. Well, the boost doesn't really matter. Pick whichever one you don't have and is the most beneficial. Your character has plus 220 to hit, so don't take attack boost. But you'd be surprised how useful something like defense boost or saves boost is in a pinch. Because saves boost makes it so you don't fail saving throws into 1, which is kind of cool. Alright. So, you need to get 4 Cormyr. Which means you need to take Dragon Knight Focus, which is terrible. And you can get the Aura as well. That's kind of cool. Why is this 3 ranks? I'm not actually spending these points. I just want to look at why this is 3 ranks. Yeah, it's 15 racial points plus 1 universal. Yep. What is that? I have to look at the PDK tree because I'm confused. It's different saves, right? Purple Dragon Aura. Why are there 3 ranks? What does each rank do? It doesn't even say so on the wiki. Seriously, what does each rank do? It just says plus 2 to their will saves. I don't know. Anyway, grab whichever action boost you think is most beneficial for your character. Your character was not, last time I checked, using the Fey Dark Illusionist tree to grab access to greater color spray because you don't have the points for it because of how thin you have to go between Warchanter, Spellsinger, and Purple Dragon Knight. You also said you wanted to keep Maestro of Life and Death because your character is, at the end of the day, healer and support, and you have all of the gear and DCs to make Wail of the Banshee work. The downside of this character build is you're dropping... basically, you have to make the decision. Picking up Warchanter is awesome because it gives you Chant of Power for 6% damage. That 6% damage is really nutty with 4 Cormyr, which is really, really good. So, that's very powerful. On top of that, you can get access to the Movement Booster, which is an amazing ability. Amazing ability. Getting 15% movement speed to everyone that's standing near you is actually just surprisingly useful given in raid situations where you need to reposition or do something else. And then also, Kingly Recovery isn't better than heal. It's like heal on steroids because this removes death penalty. So, very, very powerful ability, especially useful if you're trying to do any type of raid type content where somebody might die a couple times. Very good. So, how exactly do you build this out? This is going to be really, really tight because you can't get everything. So, Charisma to hit and damage. Obviously, we'll start there. Because I recall you were using Charisma to hit and damage on your weapon. I have to take a look at Mesmerised Build. I will have it right here for you. I'm just going to have it on my side screen so I don't have to ask these questions, so it makes it easier. Yes, because you are using Broken Blade of Constellation plus Green Steel. Yes. This makes sense. I'm just referencing. Go. I just don't want to like tread, you know, retread the same steps. Okay. Oh, you're using spell power because you don't melee stuff. Obviously, that makes sense. So yeah, spell power's not bad. You could also, as I said, consider using saves boost so you don't fail saves on a 1. But spell power is probably for the best. Although I do like saves boost. Because it's just good defensively. Hey, Infinitely, how you doing? So let's go grab the Charisma. So you can use this for extra points of Charisma. This is good. You want to have this. This might not sound very good because you're like, why would you need this? Because you press it right before you use 4 Core Mirror, which gives you extra damage bonus to all your friends using Charisma modifier. If you've never seen this ability before, once per rest, you can heal to full health. If you're below 50% health when this ability is used, you and nearby allies gain a morale bonus to weapon damage equal to your Charisma modifier for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a really long time, especially considering if, hypothetically, if your Charisma modifier is, I don't know, 60, you add 60 damage to everybody nearby you. 60 damage is like 1/3 of people's damage. That is a ridiculously large boost, and it allows you to blow stuff up. Then you might ask yourself, how do you position to get under 50% health? Mesmerida is a genius and puts on the rose-colored glasses, which automatically dumps your health to really low, and then takes them off, which means that all of a sudden you're at low health and you can pop this ability whenever you want. So that's very cool. Hamp is good. Does this ability not work? Because this is +2 to all saves. I really feel like you should use that. I know you don't, but this is +2 to all saves for all allies. Oh, it's just 1 minute? Yeah. Yeah, you don't need the more Purple Dragonite. You don't need the deflection because you don't need shield deflection. I personally would take +1 to all saves. I know you don't. This is how I would do it because I really like +1 to all saves. Although the downside of taking +1 to all saves is you don't get that extra point of Charisma, which might be a breakpoint. So we're going to skip +1 to all saves then. So we can take the extra point of Charisma because that is every point of Charisma in this build is really crazy. Because the other alternative is you take the Charisma instead of the recovery. Because instead of taking this, basically, you would do this, grab the +1 to all saves, and then continue to go up. Hey, Articult, how are you doing? I don't know. And this is less clean as well, because of the +1 to all saves, you can't take anything else. You don't really want to take Night Focus, because this is useless. You don't want to take Purple Dragon Deflection. You don't want to take the skills thing. Yeah, I think that's just the right call. For efficiency's sake. But it makes me sad. And then you grab Final Stand, which doesn't matter, and then you grab 4 Core Mirror. So our 19 points are spent. We're all set. We have 77 points left, which means 41 points spent in Spellsinger is 36 left in War Chanter, which means you're taking probably Chant of Power, for sure. You're taking Victory Song, because this doubles the Bardic area, or aria range, and then either Movement Speed or Kingly Recovery. What you are losing is you are losing access to Mass Hold Monster, you're losing access to Spell Song Vigor, you're losing access to Spellsinger Prodigy. -2 to enchantment DCs, -2 to spell penetration, and Mass Hold. So you lose Mass Hold, and you don't have AoE. Oh, that hurts so bad, dude. I'm like looking at this. Like, you have Dire Charge still, and you have Burst of Glacial Wrath, so you probably don't even need Mass Hold, assuming you can maintain the mana cost. Also, Mass Hold costs 50. So, I don't even love it. The hardest thing about Spellsinger, though, is that, yeah, Chant of Power is amazing. The hardest thing about Spellsinger is, watch this. Let's spend the points in Spellsinger. So you grab the extra mana, because it's just good to have more mana. You grab the songs, you grab this, you grab Flicker, because that's amazing. You grab Willful for more will saves, because why not have infinity will saves? You grab your purple for the extra evocation DCs. You grab this, you grab Charisma, this. You grab the Arcane Aid to give everyone else +3 spell pen. You grab your Raucous Refrain, you max that out. And now you still have to waste points to get to Maestro of Life and Death. You can do Haunting Melody to pick up Maestro of Life and Death. Yeah. Burst and Sunburst. Yeah. Or Glacial. But yeah. It just feels bad. Instead of taking good stuff, you have to take these sorts of things. Also, don't ever take enthrallment. It's not good. Oh. Anyway. Versus War Chanter, where you would do this. So this is what your build would probably look like. You want all the buffs? Absolutely. You want to be able to buff your friends. Yeah, you want iced edges. 1 point in sprint, because sprint makes you go fast. Song of Heroism is a really crazy stacking buff. That's really nice. I personally like Iron Skin, because I like Iron Skin. It's just good. You want to grab Charisma here as well. And then the most painful thing is Northwind. I wouldn't take Northwind out of this tree, because you don't need it since you're not grabbing Spinning Ice. Instead, you grab Ballad, Melody, Recklessness. You're playing as a Fate Singer, so you don't need to grab the Arcane Spell Failure. But if you wanted proficiency with Medium Armor, you could. What are you using? You have the Blessed Vestments. Where do you get medium armor proficiency? You have medium armor proficiency? Heroic Companion? I don't know. The thing about the capstone is you have the whale DCs. Like, it's okay to give up Mass Hold because you have so many stacking things. You have a combination of Soundburst and Burst of Glacial Wrath, and you can individually freeze monsters, and you have access to Dire Charge. So you can crowd control basically everything. Mass Hold is just superfluous. And it costs 6 points. Oh, you only use Fate Singer? Yeah, so you want this. Without proficiency, you get less base attack bonus contribution, so you want to have this for sure. Grab some more defense. Grab some Victory Song. Chant of Power. Ooh, that's Chant of Power, and you have 2 points left. Because you don't get the same, you don't get to add as much base attack bonus unless you're proficient. You want to be proficient with your equipment. It just basically gives you more defense for taking this. You don't have to take this, especially if you're using like the heavy version, but if you use the medium one, you get to add your full base attack bonus, which is 30, since you're a bard, because you get your base attack bonus equal to your character level. So you have a 30 base attack bonus, which is the highest you can get in the game. And then either Kingly Recovery or the movement boost. Personally, I know what you're saying here with the Heroic Companion, but this only affects one player, and it's plus 1 W. And yeah, it lasts for a minute, but like, plus 1 W for 8 points on someone else? Oh, that's so hard to justify. Like, spending 19 points in this tree to give like 60 points of damage. What's your plus? There are 59 points. 59 points of damage. That's really good. 59 points of damage is a lot. Plus 1 W? And like, even still, you're taking redundant things. Like, you already have, you don't need the weapon enchantment. You don't really need the toughness. You've already got like a ton of health. I feel like Heroic Companion is a waste with this type of character. So for me personally, that lines you down to either Kingly Recovery or Movement Boost. And I think the content that you're doing determines which one is better. Kingly Recovery is very cool because it's almost instant cast, 10k heal, and it removes everything. The removal is awesome. However, 10% movement speed all the time is great because it stacks with Barbarian. Oh no, it's not 10%, it's 5%. Oh no, you're out of points. Oh no. Oh, you're out of points. Well, obviously the answer is to go Fade Arc Illusionist. You put a point for the Inquisitive for +1 to hit, but the answer is obviously you should get a Tresem. I don't need to tell you that. That's a good idea for your 1 point. Oh no. If you only have 1 point, it's probably good to have a Kingly Recovery in the back pocket then. 5% movement speed is nice, and it is helpful, but one single Kingly Recovery per rest means that in a raid situation, if a tank dies twice, you can cleanse their, or even if you die twice, you can immediately remove the negative level penalty from dying, and that's a lot of health that comes back in a very short period of time. So I would probably go with 1 Kingly Recovery here. Granted, you could also not take the doubled Aria, but the benefit of Victory Song, one, it's a 1-pointer for 20 health, which is really good, but the doubled range on Aria means people are almost always in the Aria. So I highly recommend this. This is how I would do this, if this was me. If I was rebuilding your build, without testing. Obviously, you need to test it, but this is how I would do it, and these are the reasons as to why I did it. Max racial AP? Yes, this is 96 points. So this is maxed. Absolute max. This is Mesmerida's character. I'm helping adjust Mesmerida's character. So, yeah, this is it. I think that this is how exactly I would do it. It's important to note that in a lot of cases, if you can afford other spells, so for example, you have Burst of Glacial Wrath, you don't want Scalding Scream because it's not as good. But if you don't have crazy high DCs, like you don't have 128 Charisma, then yeah, you wanna skip this. So that's that. Cool. So that's how I would do this. I would recommend going with this method. Let's save as, and I'm gonna send this back to you. Seen a dude whose character ran fast and bounced around swinging a staff and wanted to have high mobility character that uses quarterstaff. Don't really know endgame gear too well, so I tried to put together something that works, but probably has glaring holes. Not to attach anything except quarterstaffs and high mobility, run speed, dashes, instant transmission, blah blah blah. Yeah, you gotta have that Dragon Ball Z stuff. I also love having high tumble because it is cool. I don't disagree. I think that's great. Having a high tumble is cool. This is a hybrid Henshin Mystic and Thief Acrobat. Alt. Interesting. Spinning staff wall. Very cool. Okay. I already have strong feelings about this. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Oh, and there's a wizard in here. Whoa. 12 monk, 5 rogue, 3 wizard. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay. So this is definitely a cool build. So it's 12 monk, 5 rogue, 3 wizard. We've got +8 tomes across the board. Good job. Highly recommend getting +8 tomes. If you don't have your +8 tomes, head over to the ddostore.com because they're 50% off right now. This is a dex-based staff build. All dexterity, all the time. We do not have time for anything else. No, bouncy movie dexterity build. So this character is very cool. I like the idea of having a lot of mobility. The problem is tumbling is very much a Thief Acrobat thing, and Thief Acrobat really loves tumbling. Just a quick example of why they do. You have stuff like, whoops, oh yeah, I took this point out. Cartwheel Charge, where after tumbling you gain strength and dex, and Follow Through, where after tumbling you gain 50% strike through, and on Vorpal your target is knocked down, which is super cool. Plus the upgrade doesn't seem quite worth it. Yeah, I have a +7 as well. I'm not buying it either, but I feel you. It's if you have nothing, it's a good way to go. Looking over this character, the idea is we are a dexterity-based build. Let's take a look at the level progression and what we're taking. All right. So Wizard starts off. Okay, first level is Rogue with 2-handed fighting. Sounds good. And then Bludgeoning Weapons Focus. Okay, I don't know about Weapon Focus Bludgeoning. You could probably shove Precision up a little higher because Precision is really good in the early game. Dodge, Mobility, and Spring Attack is fine. Those are fun feats. 2-handed fighting goes in here. Power Critical. I don't love Power Critical. Improve Critical. I don't like this feat. First wizard level is Metamagic Extend Spell. Overwhelming Critical here. 21 makes sense. Grand Master of Forms, because you get Master of Forms already from just being a monk. That's cool. 2-handed fighting, 2-weapon fighting. Good job. Blinding Speed. Okay, we can make some adjustments here. Epic Reflexes is good, because your character is just going to be nice to have so you don't fail on a 1. I would say, so first things first, right away, I don't love Power Critical. I don't think it's good enough to take as a feat. The problem is you ask yourself, okay, what would I need instead of these 2 feats? This is going to sound really, really dumb, but the feats that you have, you don't really need to take some of these extra things. So what I would say is, to start, I don't think you can just take Deflect Arrows as a monk. Might be able to. But I'd say something like Deflect Arrows instead, because Deflect Arrows is amazing, if you can. Highly recommend. What's +8 tome? It's an item that you can get. You can get them from endgame raids, or you can just buy it in the store. and it gives you +8 to that stat permanently on your character, and it never goes away. So we can use it for stuff like getting feats. So for example, this guy has a 13 strength, and to get two-handed fighting, you need to have a 15 strength. Oh, that doesn't work. This build doesn't even work. That's hilarious. But it can get you more. So for example, this requires a 15 strength. So with this 13 that he started with a +8 tome, he has enough to get two-handed fighting. So when you make your character, you can spend less points to get like specific feats and stuff. You got access to all enhancement trees and totally forgot to fill out EDs. No problem. So this doesn't even work. You can't take two-handed fighting at level 1 because you have a 15 strength at level 1, but you don't have it in character creation. Tomes kick in after character creation, which means you cannot do this. They made the change to make it so you can't do it at character creation. So, as it says there, requires a feat swap with Fred. You would have to do your feat swap at level 1. Yeah, you can do that if you want. So I would definitely take Deflect Arrows. I don't love Weapon Focus Bludgeoning. It's +1 to hit. I would straight up just take something like Toughness instead. Which means I would probably just move all this stuff up. So I would do like, grab Precision right away. Precision is awesome because there's a jillion undead at level 1. There are infinite quantities of undead at level 1. They're everywhere, and you always have to fight them all the time. So I would make that adjustment here. And then instead of this, instead of 2-weapon fighting, here, I would move something like Toughness, the Monk feat. Because it's a Monk feat. Actually, yeah, then you would put in Deflect Arrows here. Then you would put in Toughness here. I personally just don't like the +1 to hit and the 3 melee power. I think, it's definitely not bad. But if I would rather 2 melee power or 33 health, I know what I'm picking. 33 health is really good. Or 32 health, sorry. Blinding Speed. So, Blinding Speed is really cool because you get hasted. However, we now have new augments. They're augments of swiftness. Basically, all Striding 30 augments became augments of swiftness now, which give the effect of haste in an augment. So instead of Blinding Speed, you can just get an augment for this as you level up. So I'd recommend something like Epic Damage Reduction for some damage reduction, or even Epic Fortitude, prevent yourself from, failing saves on a 1, or Epic Toughness for 50 extra life. Because you'd be surprised how much 82 extra health impacts your character. It's actually pretty good. So any of those feats are good. I would take all of them. Under sales? Yeah, should be on sale. No, the +7 to +8 is if you already have +7s. Yeah. If you type in Supreme, it should come up pretty shortly. If you just type Supreme in the store, under the filtering text. Yeah, and the Sign of Arborea sounds pretty good. So this is how I would do this. These are the minor adjustments. Again, by taking Toughness, you can then take Epic Toughness, and that's 82 health. And 82 health is, like, enough. And then Deflect Arrows. Deflect Arrows is awesome. Where are the Swiftness augments found? You can probably buy them from other player. You can buy the augments in the store, but they also do drop from items. People will sell them on the auction house and stuff. I had some in my bank. And then they added them to all of my characters. So that's what I would recommend you do. Obviously, if you don't have that, keep it, but that would be my recommendation. I wish I could I want this. I want this. I would love to have an alternate. Like, set an alternate and add a note. That would be so nice for doing these build reviews. But you're here, so you understand what I'm saying. Okay, cool. +8 Tome of Supreme Ability, yes. Be aware that when you buy that, it only applies to the character that you use it. However, it is a permanent effect on that character. So when you reincarnate, it keeps. So if you play that character all the time and you like having one character, you keep it forever, which is pretty cool. Okay, Enhancement Tree. Let's take a look. So the 5 Rogue is to get everything in Thief Acrobat. You don't take Tumbler, which lets you pass through enemies when you tumble. It gives you extra max dodge and max dex. You don't take Kip Up for max dodge or max dex and immune to slippery surfaces. Instead, you take Henchman Mystic. Because Henchman Mystic is melee power, and you have 12 levels of Monk. Perfectly fine. I actually really like Spell Sword. I think Spell Sword's very good. Because it gives you the ability to hit incorporeal targets. So I have no issues with this. Also, more physical resistance rating is also pretty good. I would say something I would change here. Oh, you have to keep that, don't you? I don't want to use item defense. I guess you have to use item defense. My thought was instead of item defense, there's the new Fey Dark Illusionist tree. Oh, do you not have Fey Dark Illusionist? If you don't have Fey Dark Illusionist, I was going to recommend using Fey Dark Illusionist, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. This is important. Got to know this on. Okay, cool. Fey Dark Illusionist tree. I ask because instead of item defense, illusory weapon makes your weapon immune to damage, which is slightly better and gives you +1 to hit and damage, which is pretty cool. Something to think about. Not necessary. I really like focus because it's melee and range power as well as exceptional bonus to spell power. And it's pretty good. So this is a stacking buff that's really strong. I like that a lot. Lighting the candle is great because your character is not going to use their key too much, and you get extra key as well. And then getting extra max dodge or dodge cap here is really powerful. I would say you can save some points around here a little bit because you don't need to spend as many points in Quick Strike by spending the points over here. Because Staff Lunge is not very good, even though it's expensive. Sweeping Strikes is also not very good. It's kind of convenient because depending on how high your dex can go, you can knock targets down. It's important to note that this is, it's a trip cleave. So it actually doesn't use your trip DCs in this character. So don't take trip DCs, which you didn't. You didn't take trip focus, but you don't want to take that. A shadow dodge is really cool because it gives you dexterity and dodge and max dodge, which is nice. And I like this. You don't take no mercy, which is really, really powerful. And you also... Oh, yeah, you didn't take fast movement because you can't. Oh, this tree is so split. I'm trying to wonder, what's better, 5 melee power or 30% extra helplessness damage? Given that you just dire charge people to make them helpless? Oh, I don't know. Because you have to give up a lot. There's a lot of, like, there's no clean way to do this without giving up a lot. That's the thing. You're giving up a lot. This is tough. Also, it sucks that you can't get more Quick Strike. I don't know why this costs 2. It's really dumb. And Thief Acrobats. I personally like Sly Flourish because it is an aggro drop and it has increased critical threat range on an attack, and having more attacks is more good, but you already have a lot of buttons that you press in combat, so I can understand why you wouldn't want to do that. How would I retool this? This is 12 melee power plus 5 is 17 melee power from Henchman Mystic. That's really good. I wouldn't really want to pass up on the 17 melee power. Eldritch Knight is giving you access to 10 physical resistance rating, the weapon breaking, and the ability to hit all monsters like incorporeal creatures, which is very good for leveling. Thief Acrobat does what it's trying to do. The weird thing about this is as I look over, obviously I'm assuming the Wood Elf points are racial points, or it was just because you wanted to get 10% boost to missile deflection and 10% movement speed from Wild Step. I can't take this out of the build because the point is it's a tumbling build. It makes me sad because you want to get some of the cool tumbling stuff up here, but you can't because you need to play Pure Rogue, and Pure Rogue is just a different build than this character. This has some good staff synergy. It does a lot of good damage. You're picking up all the stuff out of Henchman Mystic, and you get the extra stuff out of Eldritch Knight. And dropping Henchman Mystic is effectively dropping a lot of damage, as well as even if you wanted to drop like Monk entirely, you lose that on your stances, and you lose that on the air stance for the +4 dexterity amongst other things, which is like a big amount of stats. And you don't get quick draw for free anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I'm like staring at this and I really don't know how you would change it. I know that there are a couple things that are a little bit expensive in here. What's the wizard giving? The wizard is giving item defense, which is not too bad, but most importantly, it gives effectively 10 physical resistance rating and spell sword, which lets you hit incorporeal targets all the time, which as in the purposes of leveling is awesome. At endgame, you can probably replace the wizard, But it's just nice to have. Plus, getting Eldritch Cleave is one of the best, or Eldritch Strike is one of the best cleaves in the game. And it gives you 20 health as well. Like, a few points in Eldritch Knight is very good. It also makes me wonder about some of the other points in the tree, where they're being spent. Best for multiplier? On a 19 or 20. Now, it is also important to note that the best staff in the game is the Staff of Shadow, and that is the staff that you would use as this character, so that's what we do. Benefit Arc and taking levels in a different class. Yeah, possibly. Why not tier 5 in Mystic? Because you need to have Vault for staff moving around. The thing is, in my personal opinion, instead, I think that it probably would be better to use Mystic. Not even tier 5 in Mystic, but actually, no, not even tier 5 in Mystic. It's the same thing. It's not even better. So I would probably stay here with Thief Acrobat. But yeah, I would just stay here with Thief Acrobat. But Vault is really weird because you actually don't need Vault. Because Vault shares a cooldown with what do you call it? The Abundant Step. Do you get Abundant Step on this build? Monk 12. Yeah, you get Abundant Step. So it shares basically a cooldown. So Abundant Step with all the key that you get, because you get 2 key per hit, you're going to have Infinity Key. So you'll never ever use this ability, by the way. Like Vault, you'll always have key. And you never, like, the only time you would ever use this is if you don't have key. But your key is going to be capped all the time. Staff of the Mournlands? Staff of the Mournlands isn't as good as the Staff of Shadow. Staff of Shadow has 1 extra multi. It's also important to note that the double strike stacks as well. So yeah. Staff Lunge is cool, but it's not very good. Its Staff Lunge reminds me of what do you call it? The Pounce from Shifter. It's not good, but it looks cool. Sweeping Strikes is, again, just one of those abilities that ends up being underwhelming. Because the trip is also very short duration, which is unfortunate. This is a trip cleave. That's kind of weird. Let me make an adjustment here. The hypothetical adjustment. This is how I would do this. Also, all of these points are just good. Extra accuracy is really hard to come by, and you get the tumbling thing from Wild Step. So we're not getting rid of this because that's part of the build. You want attack and damage. Attack speed with quarterstaffs is amazing. Stick fighting. So now you have dexterity to hit and damage with quarterstaffs, and you have swords to plowshares, so you get to save a feat. Super dope. You want to take this all the way up the tree because you have to, and you want to grab haste boost because that's really important. You want to take this. Shadow dodge is really good because it's your main stat plus dodge and max dex. Not max dodge though, which is kind of weird. Getting max dodge is hard. This gives 5 max dodge while wearing cloth, which is not too bad. And this is also 3 max dodge, so you're at 33% dodge plus ship is 35% dodge chance. Plus this would bring you up to 38. That's really good, closing that gap for 38 dodge. That seems pretty good. I very much like Quick Strike. To have a 1-pointer, because you can knock stuff down, because 30 to 25 seconds is not really that big of a difference in terms of scaling, and the DC is the same, and then you still have the Staff Lunge in here. By doing this, you gain 20% extra helplessness damage, and you gain a better Quick Strike, and you don't need Vault, because your character is going to be using Abundant Step everywhere. That optimizes this just a little bit to get squeezes in a little bit more damage, because essentially you're just taking out 1 point out of Vault, 1 point out of Staff Lunge, 1 point out of Sweeping Strikes, and reorganizing it, so now you have access to a better Quick Strike. to give yourself more double strike. The reason why this is important is some of you might say, okay, but you don't really need to have the extra double strike because your character is capped. No, the difference is you itemize for less double strike. So that's not too bad. The Enhancement Tree, there's nothing you can really change. The only option is changing up Quick Strike. You could actually take 2 points out of here and save them if you spent them in this Quick Strike instead. Actually, yeah, that's how I would do it. Can you have both? Yeah, you can have both. Hold on. Let me try this again. This is going to look really stupid. Hear me out. Oh no, dude, are you 1 point off? Oh, that makes me so sad, man. That makes me so sad. He was 1 point off. No, double strike caps at 100. Oh, that makes me so sad. Yeah, so that looks like that's how you do it. 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah. If you were to get rid of the wizard levels, the thing is with this, it's really convenient because you don't always have ghostly in your build. A lot of items grant it nowadays. In fact, you're probably going to use the cold iron bracers on a character like this, and which does grant ghostly. So in theory, you could replace the Eldritch Knight stuff with like the cat for the Fey Dark Illusionist, and then you also get oh, I don't want mechanic. I was looking at Shintao. You'd also replace the cat with Fey Dark Illusionist. You could potentially put some points into Shintao if you wanted to get the Iron Skin, although I don't think you have enough points. You have 8 points available, so you can actually pick up Iron Skin for 20 PRR. So you drop 10% armor class for 10 more PRR, and you also get the Fey Dark Illusionist. Again, you lose the convenience of having the Eldritch Knight thing. So I think basically the idea here is you would use, if you stay the character levels the same, you use Eldritch Knight until you have access to an item that gives you Ethereal. Then once you have an item that gives you access to Ethereal, you drop the points out of the Eldritch Knight tree, put your points into the Fey Dark Illusionist tree. Grab yourself the... Oh man, and this tree even sucks. Because the inside bonus to dodge just sucks. Death Strikes you don't even need. Shintao Exemplar is awful. Shout is horrific. Whole tree is garbage. It makes me sad. Makes me sad. Yeah. Yeah, it's not hard to get Ethereal, it's just... It's that physical resistance rating. I just don't think you want to get straight rid of it. There's nowhere else you can grab easy PRR. Well, that's not true, actually. Your character is MRR capped, but you can get it out of You've Got My Back, which is if you cast Shield, you get 10 extra PRR. The same thing, basically. This whole tree makes me sad. Basically, if you had 1 racial point, your character would be so much better. Because you could take your existing build that you wanted, and you'd have 1 additional point to grab, as an example, you could grab 2 points in Shintao if you wanted. So you could grab this, and then also grab protection from tainted creatures. That gives you 20 healing amp, which is not too bad, as well as the extra 20 PRR. Alternatively, if you did not know Henshin Mystic, you can grab these additional abilities here for an extra attacks that have the vulnerability, which is not too bad. But like, oh man, that is just nasty. Nasty, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Or you could grab the quick strike out of this tree instead of the other tree. Man, like 1 racial point makes a lot of difference. Let's assume you have 1 racial point. If you have 1 racial point, I'm just going to take the point out of this one, where you would put that back there. You would have 9 points to spend in the tree. So instead of spending the points where you were spending them before, you'd be spending the points in the Shintao tree, grabbing yourself an elemental curative. The one that you want the most is this one, Restoring the Balance, because it means you get all the extra curse removal, and you grab Read in the Wind. It gives you an attack for that extra free dodge in case you're not dodge capped. Iron Skin, protection from tainted creatures. So what you get over your previous build is you're getting 10 additional physical resistance rating, 100% immunity to breaking on weapons, and 20 extra healing amplification for your character. And you get to keep all of these offensive stats. Alternatively, you could even make a trade if you wanted to grab No Mercy, both of which are fine. Defense goes Stalwart to Defender, or you can say if you want damage instead. The problem is with Stalwart Defender is you get a ton of extra aggro, which is not ideal on characters that are light armored or cloth armored. You don't want extra aggro. You don't want Stalwart Defender. I disagree. Unless if you're soloing, it's possibly better. Yeah, this is where I would go, assuming you had that at 1 extra point. This is probably where I would end the build, deciding either between 10 extra helplessness damage or the protection from tainted creatures. Because both are very, very good. Because it also gives you an additional armor class as well. That's really hard to say. And if you wanted to go the extra damage route, you could say, fuck Iron Skin, go here and pick up Fist of Iron for an extra +1 threat range W attack, which is really, really, really strong, and just Fist of Iron people. But this is how I would personally do it. And then we're going to move on here. Epic Destinies. The Epic Destinies aren't even leveled at all. Because you said that. So I'm just going to do the leveling real quick. There should be a button that does this. It's just, this is how you unlock the fate points in the builder. Also, I realized the music just stopped. Or I just realized the music stopped. Yo, what's up? In 10 minutes? 40-minute class that you're teaching in the house? Oh, that's like not cool. Not like me. I'm very cool. I'm super cool. How? Well, burgundy's like the best color. Yeah, there's no way to get away from that. Yeah, I'm gonna come get a coffee before you do that. My roommate is teaching a class. Because my burgundy shirt is burgundy. Very cool. Yeah. Like I said, I feel ya. It's just no other builder is up to date. So I do what I can. Show us the cat? I can't. And the cat doesn't come here. I can't show you the cat. I apologize. Okay, so you want mobility. Well, mobility is a complicated subject because there's no mobility here. You have dragon wings here. Mobility. Exalted Angel gives you Leap of Faith, but is horrible for the build. Fate Singer has no mobility. Fury has no mobility. Grandmaster has key generation, but not directly mobility. And also, you can't use everything as nothing because your wisdom is garbage. This is problematic. Dreadnought gives you Pulverizer, which is really good. And it gives you more action boosts. Good. I'm leaning Dreadnought. Magister does not give you mobility, although it does let you tumble through things. With a twist. Which is what you want. I haven't bought the squeeze trees, so this is correct. Primal Avatar does not give you mobility or anything. Shadow Dancer does not give you mobility, surprisingly. It's okay for this character build because you do get sneak attack. I just don't love Shadow Dancer for two-handed fighting as much. But you would technically be able to get Executioner Strike to assassinate targets if you wanted. You just need to make sure you gear in some assassinate items. And also you could be a Wraith, a shadow form. Sharati, nothing. Kneeling, nothing. So I'm going to say, for now, Dreadnought, and you can make adjustments as necessary to your own personal character build. Tactics is awesome for Dire Charge. Extraction Boost is awesome for Action Boost. Action Boost Power is awesome because it's Action Boost Power. Momentum Swing is Momentum Swing. Because your Trip Cleave will proc Momentum Swing, which is hilarious. Grab yourself some Con, because Con is Con. Grab more Con, because Con is Con is Con. Doop, 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 doop. And we grab everything that's good out of Legendary Dreadnought. All this stuff is good, so that's why we're taking this stuff. Now, as far as twists go, you need a tier 4. You need a tier 2, probably. And you want a tier 1. And here's how we do this. Starting out, tier 4, what do you want? Fate Singer. Why? Because there's the best twist in the game, silly. Get yourself a Martial Hymn. You might think you want to get extra helplessness damage, but you don't. You want Martial Hymn. Come on. It's Martial Hymn. It's really good. You knew this. You knew this was coming. Next, you have no fortification penetration other than precision. Hey, guess what? You know what you're taking? Grim Precision, until you can sort out your fortification penetration at endgame. Because you will not have enough, even likely with your stats, because your character is reliant on extra getting that crit damage. Because everybody is, and you have the extra critical threat range. And Staff of Shadow is what you want to use. And then lastly, what's the best thing to take here? Well, we're talking about crits, because you want to crit people. And you took Momentum Swing, because Momentum Swing is a thing that lets you crit people all the time, because it's a frontal cleave. It doesn't, or not a frontal cleave, but it's a frontal attack that is +3 critical threat range, and I think it hits 2 or 3 times. It's very good. But you need to reset the cooldown. And how do you reset the cooldown? With a cleave, Fury of the Wild. Go in here, grab Boulder's Might. This is an attack that's a frontal cleave, and also resets the cooldown of your thing, of your Momentum Swing. So your character is literally just going to be cycling through attacks when you're in combat, and then tumbling around. You're almost never actually going to click the button to hit monsters, which is kind of weird. You're just going to be doing other stuff and tumbling around. Also, one of the benefits of playing a Dreadnought is this one, Unstoppable. Did somebody crowd control you while you're trying to tumble around and jump around the room? Guess what? They did not, because you undid it with Unstoppable. How cool is that? Do 100 plus my Arcane Archer. Has 98, but could maybe pump a few more points in with gear. So basically, monsters with fortification, hero souls have plus 100. I think it's 100 or 125. And monsters in Sharn have 75, I think, added. And red names get a base of 50. And purple names get even more. So I would say, if you are worried about Sharn monsters, you need like 175 fort bypass all the time. However, to fix this, what you do is you use fort reduction effects. If you're playing as an Arcane Archer, you should be a Falconer. And if you're a Falconer, then that means you have the exposed weakness. So that should be fine. Literally, exactly. That's what you're going to be doing. And that's pretty much it. Did you say you set up an item list? I don't remember. Yes, you did. Hey, look at that. Hey, check it out, everybody. It's the best staff in the game. Staff of Shadow. Yeah, you want Staff of Shadow. Hey, you want Prowess. Good job. I'm very proud of you. Vector Boots. Yeah, these are good. Vector Boots are good. There's your double strike items. That's pretty good. Family Recruit Sigil, plus the Turncoat, plus the Hammer Fist. Delightful. So you're part of the family set. That's pretty good. Tumbleweed. Tumbleweed is for insightful decks, exceptional skills, accuracy and deadly, and mind and matter set, which is a nice set. I like that set. Lionheart Ring. Oh, Lionheart Ring is so good, isn't it? This is such a good item. Ear Kesslin's Shattered Lens. I've never used this item before. It says Force Absorption? That's madness. Is that even good? Probably not. Belt of the Ram. Another summer piece. Now you have magical resistance rating. Fan Braces the Summer Court. This gives you Insightful Double Strike. You already have Insightful Double Strike. And you don't need Charisma, and you don't need the Smites. So I'm assuming this is just for Summer set, but you already have Fortification Bypass from the Hammer Fist. Well, this is slightly better. I hate this item in this slot. Cloak of Balance is a separate item, which is not even crafted. And a Slave Lords for Sheltering, Resistance Tumble, Quality Con. Because this is Dex, Insightful Dex. You don't have Quality Dex. This is Insightful Con, and you don't have Con. Yeah, and you don't have Con. Oh yeah, you have Con on the Belt of the Ram. And the Cloak of Balance, you could do like Quality Dex, just say. Quality Dex is fine for the most part. And you have Umber Brim for the Insightful Accuracy and Deception. I really hate your Kesselin's Shattered Lens, but it does give you a lot of dodge. How do we tune this up? Let's see. What is the other item that goes with Tumbleweed? What is the other item that's part of the set? Anybody know? Insightful Seeker. Yeah, I think you already get Insightful Seeker somewhere else, don't you? No, you just get Seeker. And I don't love Insightful Seeker. I really hate this item. I think the Van Brace of the Summer Court should not be here. It does give you your third summer piece for the extra fortification bypass, but I really don't think you need it. Also, 25 artifact magical resistance rating is almost a joke, because you're basically over the cap. Ring of Thelis. Oh, it's a double ring set? Video item sets. I hate that. No, don't be double ring set. Oh, and Omniscience as well. What's Omniscience? Another ring. Riposte, resistance, fortification, shield bonus. It's a pretty good ring. You don't need the fort though. That artifact MRR cap is like straight up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the Ring of Thelis is so fucking bad. Okay, never mind. Holy smokes. Okay. Okay. So, in theory, you could replace the Lionheart ring, and that would be bad, because you want all of these stats. All of these stats are good. Why is this item so good? Have you guys noticed how good the Lionheart ring is? I just really hate this. It's giving 15% fortification bypass and Insightful Seeker 10. I feel like you can do better than this. Added Scrolls of the Broken Ones is Insightful Sheltering 28. Let's see. Tharn's Bracers. Nah. Sunken Chains. Eh. Wait, what can you craft on this? Ooh, Insightful Intelligence. Hell yeah, dude. Moonrise Bracers. Yeah, the Moonrise Bracers. Oh, yeah, I forgot about those. Levics. Ooh, Vitality and False Life? Well, you already have Sharn gear, so it's fine. Yeah, Lionheart is really good. Oh, the Bloodbark Bracers? I was thinking probably Cold Iron, because it's quality, ghostly, protection, and false life. And it fits all of the stats that you need, so I'd probably do Cold Iron Bracers if I was picking a set of Bracers. Although you already have Ghostly on Spectre Boots, but still, this is 92 life and Protection 17. So basically my adjustments to this character is give it almost 200 extra health, and then give it a little bit more damage. Also on a character like this, if you don't want to be scraped off of the floor in every quest you do, you want to go and get this one, Naya Stools. You want to get Naya Stools with the Constitution, and you want to get the... Oh wait, where's the double Naya Stools? Embraced by the Light. Oh, the organization makes me sad. The Iron Naya Stools? Yeah, there it is. Actually, you don't need that at all. You're over cap. That's hilarious. That's really funny. You're gonna give yourself a Naya Stools and an Acid Absorb and a... Why do I have to scroll through this every time? Like, if this was just a tree that you click one, then you click the next, that'd be so much better. Cold Absorb. Fire. And Electric. Oddly enough, you don't need any tripping items because you don't do any tripping, which is really weird for a character that has a trip attack. That's basically the build. The reason why you want the Nihistools is because if you don't have your MRR cap higher, you literally die in every quest. Which, as hilarious as that is, don't do that. So you have accuracy and insightful. You have deadly and insightful. Yeah, character seems, for the most part, pretty well geared. I actually do like the idea of using the Tumbleweed. The only issue I have really with it, because it fills up a lot of the good stats that you want, is that you can't obviously get the other half of it, because the other half will require giving up one of the best items in the game, in the Lionheart Ring. I hate when people are like, ugh, the gear sucks in Feywild, and then you have items like this, where you're like, how do I make every item like this? Yeah, this is a cursory glance. This is what I would change. And then Staff of Shadow. Again, one of the reasons, it's a ×3 staff. It makes it the best staff in the game. That's all it takes. It has no other stats on it. It's just adamantine and ×3 staff. So that was a look at the mobile staff battler dude. Thank you, Cinegang Owl, for submitting that to me. I hope this has been a helpful experience for you to like get a little bit of information, and maybe which is going to be a shifter build. Now, some of you guys think that shifter is bad. I don't know what to tell you other than you're incorrect. But I'm about to review a shifter build that is essential to use shifter. It is very unlikely that I will improve this build at all because the person who made it is smarter than me. But that being said, they've never seen how cool my shirt is. It's a pretty cool shirt. So it should be able to very easily make a cool build. This is going to be Shifter Barbarian. There's a hair in my coffee. Oh, there's not a hair in my coffee. I just didn't stir my coffee enough. You want to know how you have a good day, by the way? You have a good day by make your coffee in the morning. Okay. And is my music still playing? Oh, here. There it is. Yeah. You make your coffee in the morning. And then you put Bailey's in it and hot chocolate mix instead of sugar and milk. Yeah, that's the shit. Shit, man. Okay, so we're on build number 4. Oh, this is lagging. Help. The DDO builder off is it crunches under its own weight sometimes. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Woo! Who made this build? My guild leader made this build and gave it to me. Morning coffee, noon, night, and every time in between. Absolutely. So this is a shifter build. It is a barbarian build, pure barbarian. Important note about this character is we're going all constitution on this one, baby. Also a 12 charisma for whatever reason. But yeah, all constitution for this character build. Let's take a look at the level up process. Okay. Since we're going pure shifter, obviously this, as I mentioned this before, I don't talk about the skills because the skills don't matter. Just take UMD and whatever you think is appropriate, because it's going to have very little impact on your character unless you're like somebody who is playing a wizard of some kind and you don't take spellcraft or whatever. Just like take whatever you think is appropriate. Skills are not the biggest deal. So the shifter specialization is Beast Hide, which is armor class and constitution. When you shift, which is kind of cool, and it gives a penalty to wisdom. Power attack here for damage and cleave. Two-handed fighting at 6. I find this interesting, waiting on two-handed fighting, because you get cleave at 3. I really like strike through in the early levels. I feel like it's a mistake to take this later. Oh, I didn't read the overview to everybody else. So, forgot to do this. I was gonna do that once I got to the actual tree, but yeah, we can do that. So the idea behind this character that was brought to me, my attention, was to be a con-based and never run out of rages, so that you can endlessly rely on Blood Feast and Blood Tribute for survivability and have endless Visage of Terrors. So it's important to note this character is using a lot of things, a lot of words that I just said that are very specific abilities that you get later in the game. Level 20 and higher, except for a Blood Tribute, which gets much better. The author then goes on to say that Shifter is an underrated race and people think it's terrible, but for Ravager, it's actually one of the best defensive options, especially for High Reaper. Having the Shifter form be con-based and have 5% HP gives it a reasonable amount of tankiness along with complementing the con-based nature of this build. Obviously, getting strength high enough for our hit and damage is important too, but the fact that we can have endless visages effectively means that the slight hit to our damage from being con-based is outweighed by the high DC we achieve on Visage. Purely an in-game questing Reaper tune, a Frenzy Berserker would be better for raids. So it's also important to note this character is not really designed with, I guess, the leveling order in mind, because that's less important. And it's also not designed for doing raids and stuff. If you want to play a raid barbarian, there are better barbs out there, but this, because red names and other things that you encounter that you have to deal with, you need people who can, hit some monsters. But this character is mostly for doing Reaper questing, and doing like Reaper 10s. The cool thing about a character like this is with this character, you can do stuff like, how I posted my build where I said, oh yeah, you can solo Reaper 4, guys. That's literally the thumbnail is solo Reaper 4 in all capital letters, because I'm super good at creating catchy, eye-catching thumbnails. Also, my video is 100% likes. Thanks, guys. The idea here behind this one is it's not like, oh, you can solo Reaper 4. This build can solo Reaper 4. And 5, and probably 6, and probably 7. So, that's the kind of character build that this is going towards. This is a very, very endgame focused build. But yeah, so picking up Cleave and Great Cleave on this character, not too bad, not too shabby. Improved crit, it's pretty standard, two-handed fighting, overwhelming crit, completionist, because if you got it, take it. Yeah, what he means by you know what you're doing, it's have enough use magic device to cast Dimension Door scrolls, so if you encounter a Doom Reaper, you just D-Door out and call it a day. Now you're going to notice something really weird. Or at the bottom here, Precision. This character takes Precision. And Power Attack, Precision gives 5% hit chance and fortification penetration. There are some situations where instead of Power Attack, you get more damage out of having higher hit chance, so that's why Precision is in the build. You kind of swap it between. And then Scion of Arborea. Because Scion of Arborea is the best thing. The feats are kind of, run-of-the-mill. I don't really have any adjustments for this thing, because this is doing a different purpose, and also you're going to have so much con, you don't need to take any of the health things. On a character, like I was saying with the monk that we were just looking at, you don't have a lot of health between monk, rogue, and wizard. So getting the extra 82 health from toughness and epic toughness is awesome. This type of character, you don't need the extra 82 health from epic toughness and toughness because you have a billion stats. So that's important. So let's move on. Enhancement Tree. Focus. Now, you're going to notice the first thing here. This is another 96-point build. There are people out there that have these character builds, so we will be reviewing them. This is not something that you should fully optimize for. And besides, you can drop out some points. For example, if you wanted to make this character less expensive, you would just effectively drop 16 points out of Frenzy Berserker. And then play the same build. Exactly. You would just drop the points out of Frenzy Berserker. Everything is important, but you just need blood. You just need blood tribute, which is 8 points deep, so you can drop all this other garbage. So we'll start. Most important thing, Ravager. The way that this build works is it uses Visage of Terror. Terrorize up to 6 enemies, killing them with fear if they fail a will saving throw versus 10 plus Constitution plus half Barbarian level. Enemies who make their save are paralyzed with fear for 6 seconds. Does not affect bosses. Important to note about this ability is that the DC is completely wrong. It's way higher than this. So if you're wondering how this could work at all, because you're like, the max on this is like 70, and you're like, how is this even good? Yeah, it lands on everything. I took a 21 Dwarven Barbarian into Ravenloft once on Reaper mode, and I was just smashing everything with Visage of Terror. I have no idea how this is calculated, but that DC is completely incorrect. It does scale off Constitution, though. It also, I think it does have a target limit of 6. Although I'm not, yeah, target limit of 6. And it costs 1 rage. So every 30 seconds, you can spend a rage to kill a bunch of monsters nearby. To circumvent this character picks up 6 extra rages, 1 extra rage, 2 extra rage, and regenerating rages. So you get a rage every 90 seconds. Important note that this character, because you have extra duration on rages here from this, as well as the really high constitution, your rages last for minutes. Probably, I'm going to say like 6 minutes almost per rage. So you barely need to like recast your rages. The only time you recast rage is when you remove your rage and then put it back on. So as a result of this, with all of this extra time on rage, you have all these rages you can spend. And you can spend them in 2 different ways. Way number 1 is through Visage of Terror, which then allows you to kill all the monsters that are nearby you. But most interestingly is there's actually an item that we're going to look at quickly. So, oh, is the swap in here? Oh no, it's a swap. The swap's not here. No, it's okay, I got it. Okay, filigree sets. We are looking at the Blood Feast. This filigree set says, when you activate Rage, gain 100 temporary hit points, perk epic level, an effect called Shield of Rage, with a 10-minute duration. So the idea behind this is that your character is constantly, every time you drop combat, you drop Rage, then you swap to your other weapon that has the Blood Feast filigrees in it, then you re-Rage. This gives you an extra 1,000 temporary hit points on top. So if you have like 250 to 300 physical resistance rating, then what happens is the monsters will, hit you on like, for like 500 damage. So it basically absorbs like the first 2 hits. If you're timing your cooldowns right, if you have either Meld into Darkness, or if you have, I don't know if you take Meld, I didn't look at your twists yet, or if you have Improved Uncanny Dodge or any other ability like that, you're able to really space out how often you're pressing this button and to give yourself a lot of temporary HP as well. And not only that, outside of combat, in combat, you're able to make great use out of the Blood Tribute effect. Blood Tribute is 100 temporary health for 1 minute, plus 25 per epic level, so a total of 400 temporary HP every time you press this button. And since your con is going to be hundreds, it's pretty good. We can actually look at this character. Apparently the stats are incorrect, but ability scores with this character, it's at 98 Constitution. I believe this is before Rage. This is not while raging. Oh, is this while raging? Yeah, this is while raging. It's 98 con. Really? 98 con? Seems low. Anyway, it's incorrect. Here's the actual stats on this character when we get there. Yeah, I'm going. These are the actual stats. So you've got a character with 300 physical resistance rating and 115 constitution. So what happens is you can get 400 temporary hit points 115 times, which is like 40,000 temp HP, which is a lot. You can use your rages, which regenerate to get you 1,000 temporary hit points whenever you want. And yeah, character still has 88 strength, so it's going to hit pretty hard. And oftentimes it doesn't need to because it instant kills stuff. Pretty neat, huh? So that is the basic idea. Now let's get to reviewing. So you take all the cores here. You go with Hardy Shift, for sure. That makes sense. I like that. You grab 3 points in Shifted Defenses. I gotta ask, you don't take 1 point for Magic Fang for +7 to hit and damage. How come you don't take 1 point out of Shifted Defenses for PRR, or 1 point out of Healing Amp or anything else for +7 to hit and damage? Like, I get it's optimized, or even like this, the Crazy Strike from Cracking Attack. 1 melee power? Or 7 to hit and damage? I'm very curious. Because this Magic Fang, by the way, affects your weapons while you're shifting. Like, or not while you're shifting, just all the time. Yeah, half of a W is not worth the hit chance. And also, +7 is higher than all half Ws in the game. Half a W on the best weapon, like a Baz Marath, is half of 9.5, which is 4.75, which is less than 7. Recasting Magic Fang? No, you don't have to cast it on Rage. Because it stays on all the time. As long as you're a shifter, it affects you, it doesn't drop, and because it costs hit points, you can cast it while raging. And it does not drop, no. Yeah, it stays all the time. This is just +7 to hit and damage for 1 point. It's really, 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 really crazy. Yeah. So what you do here is you drop a Hamp, you grab a Magic Fang, and you do this. So if you guys did not know this, another reason why Shifter is amazing, because it scales off your character level, yeah. Plus 7 to hit damage. It costs health, which means it can be used while raging. Oddly enough, Howl of Terror does not cost health, but it can be used while raging. All of the Shifter spells can be used while raging, including Maul. I really don't... I like Maul conceptually, but I wish this was Shred, because Shred is way better than this. That's why you don't take this. This character does not take the Howl. It's got shifted defenses for physical resistance rating. It's got 10 extra healing amp. And then you take Threatening Shift for 5% life. That's really powerful. Total of 17 points spent in the tree, and it's a very lean 17 points. Because this costs 2. Now, Frenzied Berserker. Stacks up Killer Instincts on a Wolf. Yeah, that makes sense. It's plus 3 damage, yo. Okay, so Die Hard Cores, this all makes sense. 1 cracking attack. You're getting the strike through, so that's 40% strike through is pretty good. You get the extra action boost. I'm assuming you end up using all the action boosts. I don't play the game. You have sprint boost, and it looks like your epic destiny is Fury, and you have haste. So you have 12 hastes. I'm assuming you go through 12 hastes pretty well. Yeah, tier 3 crazy is very good, but yeah. You don't take the cleaves or anything else like that. That seems good. I'm assuming that you need this, but I don't know. I'm assuming that you need that. Out of Occult Slayer, you still pick up Knockout. I find this interesting. What is the decision behind Ear Smash? I'd like to know. Because Ear Smash was patched, right? This doesn't have the same oomph that it used to have. I know it's on a 19 or 20. It's a stun. But I guess a 10% chance for an 18-second stun, not too bad. Okay. And the sleep, as long as you don't hit them, is not too bad. You can actually do this to Reapers, like Venge. If you have a Venge, you can go and knock it out and then walk away, assuming you don't hit it again. And if nobody else hits it, it's pretty good. Yeah, that makes sense. That's good for control. That's a good control tool. Okay. I have no issues with this. This seems fine. Ravager. You've got the Hardy Rage, you've got the Power Attack, the Cruel Cut. No, waste of time. Oh. No. No. Oh, no. Ugh. So the thing is, you only need 1 point in all these. I don't think you need 3 points in Dismember. Because you're going for the 5 melee power. Later, Mesmerida. See you around. Yeah, this, I wouldn't put 3 points into this. I would do 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, because you don't need as many points into Cruel Cut. The reason why you don't need as many points into Cruel Cut is because the Dismember, the 5 melee power, is right away. The movement speed slow and the attack speed slow are flat numbers. They're not based on the rank. It's only the Bane damage, which is not that much. And the Festering Wound literally doesn't matter, because monsters, like, if a monster is healing, it's usually like 1,000, and you just hit it again, and it goes down. So you could take 6 points out of here and get 2 extra con if you wanted. I just feel like you don't need all the points in here. I feel like that is extra. So I would probably dump 2 points out of Dismember, 2 points out of Festering Wound, 2 points out of Cruel Cut, because it doesn't affect the cooldown either. And then go with both the cons here to get you up to 117 if you wanted. And then with your last 2 points, you could put them wherever you wanted. If you still liked Cruel Cut, you could do that. Alternatively, you could pick up Ritual Scarring if you wanted more PRR, although this is a very, very low number. You could grab Do You Like Pain? Or not Do You Like Pain, sorry, Hate, if you want to get more threat generation. All of these things seem bad. And then alternatively, Aura of Fear is delightful with 2 ranks. It makes it so that enemies that are undead or constructs are helpless, which is really fun. Let's try this. Let's just try this adjustment here. Reset. Tree. I'm going to do one of these. Point. Strength. Lol. Strength. An idiot puts points into strength. Oh, it's 2 points straight out of the tree. Cool, you can spend them wherever you want. Where would you spend 2 points? Where would you spend 2 points? I mean, that depends. Is it worth it to drop 2 action boosts for a full Crazy Strike? Because you could... We have Magic Fang already. Because you could drop 2 action boosts for a full Crazy Strike. Melee power boost? No. Hamp? You could grab two extra Hamp. That's 20 Hamp. You can't drop a con. Because it's 42 is with all the tier 5s. You can't drop a con. No dropping of con. Which means the answer is probably take a con. Now you're back to even. Drop a con, take a ritual scarring, but then that only leaves you with 3 points. Oh, to get an extra half W on your Crazy Strike? Yeah, you only need 41. Yeah. Well, wait, what's... How many points is this? 2, 5... Is this 10 points? 7... 8. Yeah. 9. Alright, so you want that W. Alright. So let's change this. By the way, this is like super min-maxing. The 1 ritual scarring. This is the level of optimization we're talking about. We're talking about a well-oiled machine. Well, more like a well-oiled man-sheen. Because this is a barbarian, of course, we're talking about. So it's got the 1 con. And then we drop that point, and we go boop, boop, and boop. Now your character has an extra half W, 1 more point of melee power, and plus 7 to hit and damage from Shifter. And 1 more con. So now you're even. So now it's 116 con. Not bad. Yeah, it's a con. It's con! Sorry. Yeah, that's it. I didn't watch that movie. I don't know anything about it. I didn't watch both the original and also the remake with that guy. Bender Bendy and Cucumber Patch. Never seen it. So yeah. So that's cool. Bolt Slayer and get more in Frenzy Berserker. This is up to you. You said you like Knockout. I don't think you should use Knockout. But you like Knockout for control. Additionally, you could also just save 2 points. You could literally just do like 1 point out of Knockout if you wanted. Yeah, this is a you decision and optimization. This is the more controlling route. And here's the thing. How many situations, this is always what you have to ask yourself. How many situations is 1 W going to save your life or everyone else's life? I don't know. How many situations is an 18-second sleep on a dangerous champ or reaper going to save people? Having a tool is very useful if you already have like a critical mass, like not like a critical mass, but you already have an excess of damage. If you have enough damage that you feel good about your character's damage already, you could add more, but is that going to do it? And that's true. You could also get Death Frenzy. And Death Frenzy is plus 4 strength and plus 1 crit multi and plus 10 in melee power, which is a shitload of damage. Yes, and you can Visage stun people. Yeah, another important thing about this is that I really like Elemental Defense because it's an extra 1% barb damage reduction, which is something you could have done. But you can basically drop this down, take the 3 points out of Knockout. Yeah, you take the 3 points out of Knockout. Here's how I would do this, probably. I would probably take out either the 1 point of extra action boost here, or the 1 point of extra strength from raging. But wait, what's your strength at? 88. Yes, you're at 88. I would probably take out the 1 action boost or 1 point out of mad munitions. So then you lose 10% strike through. That's just what you lose. You take the 3 points out of knockout, and with those 4 points, you then get the whole of cracking attack plus death frenzy. You get them both. So you lose 10% strike through and your sleep. But you gain death frenzy. So plus 4 strength, plus 1 crit multi, 10 melee power, and crazy strike fully. Plus 1 W. So this is how I would do it, basically. Something like this. Like so. And then the ear smash. You probably don't even need to take ear smash at this point, because you're like the silence is not very good because it doesn't work on red names. Does ear smash work on red names? I thought they were immune. I don't remember. Didn't we ear smash Baba? Can you ear smash Baba? We have 2 barbarians in chat right now, at least. Like, it's an easy thing to test, but I don't think you can. Because I would probably do something like that. Yeah, so I would probably do something like this. So you get the Death Frenzy, and you get the Crazy Strike. Your smash would work on Muln. Yeah, but you don't die to it, so who cares? Yeah. You don't get Divinely Punished. You just... No, dude, this character has 4,700 life and 150 magical resistance rating. It just doesn't die. Okay, cool. So this is how I would personally do it if I was you and redoing it. You get an extra plus 1.5 W over what you had before on all your attacks, plus 7 to hit and damage with Magic Fang, and plus 4 strength, 1 multi on 19 or 20, and 10 melee power, as well as the Greater Vicious 4d6 on every attack, which works out pretty well. Yep, exactly. That's how I would do that. Last but not least, let's look at Epic Destinies. Fury. Okay. Alright, okay. Okay, there's no easy fix for this. Perfect. Oh, is a builder bug? All ranks are rewarding plus 1 DR? Oh, is that a builder bug? Or is that actually in game? Or do you actually take that? Oh, you don't take Bloodbath for the sustain? Wow. I'm surprised by this. Because it gives you double sustain on Fury Eternal. I guess you must not run out that often. Need points to progress. Oh, yeah. That's true. I personally like Overwhelming Force for the 10 seconds. Because you can use Adrenaline as crowd control if you want. But 6 seconds is also probably good enough. Yeah, I don't have anything I would change here. Martial Limbs, God tier. Action Boost Haste is God tier. Extra Action Boost is God tier. Dance of Flowers. Yeah, there's nothing to change here. You don't use Boulder's Might, which I find weird. I've not killed it at R6, then I'm trash. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that seems good to me. I have nothing to change with this. This is great. Not enough points. Yeah, seems good to me. I like it. I have nothing to change. No adjustments. I can't think of anything I would change. The only thing I would say maybe you could kind of consider, because you have 1 billion cleaves, although you already have a lot of attacks anyway with cracking attack and other stuff to keep up, you twist Momentum Swing, because Momentum Swing is Momentum Swing, but it's entirely up to you. Because you have all the cleaves. You could twist Momentum Swing. As we pointed out, if you wanted to play this build, by the way, yourself, just dump all the points at a Frenzied Berserker, and you can still play it, it's not going to be as good because you probably won't have 116 Constitution. What the hell? So dumb. But you'll get close. What did you do for this button? The Reaper points. It's already in here. Look at that. Ooh, 42. I'm impressed. Dodge cap. This character must have a... Ooh, and double dodge cap while in Reaper mode. Does this character actually hit the dodge cap? Do you actually get up to 1, 2, 3, 28, 30% dodge? Put all these build reviews up on YouTube? That's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down. I wasn't planning on doing that, but yeah, that's a good idea. Build. Review. Dash. YouTube. That's a great fucking idea. You're way smarter than I am. I'll edit this together and throw it up on YouTube. Cool. Then it'd be something to look up later. Yeah. No, that's a great idea. You're a genius. I'm very stupid. But I am very cool because my shirt is burgundy. Okay. Yeah, that was my last question is, do you get 30% dodge on this character? Because your cap is 30%. So I'm just wondering if you get it. Because you don't take a lot of dodge. What's the items? I can look at the items and stop being lazy. Stop being lazy, Strimtom. Charoon doesn't have dodge. That doesn't have dodge. There's no dodge here. I don't see dodge. Excuse me. Wait, where is it? Excuse me. Dodge. Coming through. Dodge me, please. Dodge, 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 dodge. What's your max dex? I don't know what the max dex on this is. Doesn't tell me. Where's the stats? There's the stats. There we go. Abilities. Where's the defiance, man? Physical breakdowns. Defensive. Doge. 12. Armor is 28%. No, dodge cap. Dodge cap for armor, and 12 is your max dex. And we hit 14%. Yeah, this says 12. Yeah, with an augment, you... Oh, capped by... Capped... Oh, there it is. Capped from 16. Yeah, augments. Yeah, augments to 14. Yeah, you already capped. So yeah, you could just swap out those points. I only bring that up because obviously we're talking about optimizations here, and you have the Reaper Strike. I'm assuming you actually use this. So you could take, 1 point out of evasion here to pick up an extra Reaper charge if you wanted. You don't even need to take this at all. Although you do want to keep the extra evasion because you actually use it. There's 2 PRR MRR out here, but you could take 1, 2, 3 points out and get 6 extra melee power. Cool. Like 1, 2, 3, because it's 2 PRR and MRR, which is good, but 6 melee power for 2 PRR and MRR? I don't know, dude. That's not a good trade. I would go with the melee power. I die a lot in Reaper mode, so that's that. Alright, so this build has been reviewed. I'm not going to review your items because I don't have time, and I'm sure you did a good job. Collective Sight. Wow. Amazing. Enforcer's Coat. Good item. Hey, look at you. You're using the Sharn set. Wow, that's good. Oh, look. Is that a 4-piece winter set? That's a 4-piece winter set. Direwolf belt? Damn, that's a good belt. Charoon, that's a cool artifact. Gives you armor piercing and Sightful armor piercing. You got Blood Rage Chrism, an item that will never be balanced, and we'll probably keep using it when the level cap increases. Crown with the Butterflies, which gives Crown of Summer for 10 extra melee power, which is ridiculous, and magical sheltering. Wow, that's kind of cool. And monsters get distracted with no save, and also Reaper ability boost. You do not have a Crown of Butterflies Reaper power. You do not. You do not have a Mythic 3 Reaper 2. I was hoping to be like, there's no way this motherfucker has a Reaper 2 ability boost, Mythic 3. But in theory, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I haven't played enough. Like, Feywild's been out since November 5th. It is November 27th. It's been 22 days. There is no way that you've got that combo We'll get it eventually. We have more Feywild to play. We're not getting new content until next year. So, geez Louise, man.